Yeah! Get up!
What is up, everybody? I'm gonna do my best here to not ride into the sun or in front of the sun, behind it. I'm gonna try best to not get the sun directly into the camera. I made a couple videos recently and it's kind of been hard to avoid, mostly because I was doing these videos on the way to somewhere, so I couldn't take another direction. But today we're just out for a ride, so we're gonna just do our best here to keep the sun out of your eyes. And really, that means it's gonna be out of my eyes too. Not that it's in my eyes when I'm riding away from it, but then it's in your eyes when it's got this camera. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. So we are getting close to the big ride coming up here on September 30th, the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride going on in Sacramento. It is going on all over the world though, and it's a huge event here, and it's here to promote men's mental health and bring awareness to men's prostate cancer. Now, I wanted to do my due diligence and let you know a little bit more about this ride and what it's all about, because I did talk about the fact that I support men's mental health and that I support men's awareness to prostate cancer, but I did not do my due diligence as far as talking directly about what this ride represents and who represents this ride. So there is a local sponsor, which is one of my favorite dealerships in the area, A&S Motorcycles. So a big shout out to them for being a local sponsor to the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. And of course Triumph Motorcycles is involved. So there's a handful of other sponsors, and I'm not going to mention all of them. I'll have a link up to all of them so you guys can take a look at who's a part of the event. But it's in association with the Movember Foundation, Movember Foundation. You know, I'm sure all of you have heard of it. It's, you know, if you see actors and celebrities wearing big fat mustaches during the month of November, it's to bring awareness to men's health. So just wanted to talk really quickly about prostate cancer and men's mental health really quickly, mostly touching on suicide. But first, let's talk about prostate cancer, something that all men, I'm sure, just love talking about, and people in general just love talking about prostate cancer. So if you're over the age of 50, you're going to be in the age range of the people who should be most aware of and be getting themselves checked for prostate cancer. There are other groups that should probably get checked at 45 and up, or maybe just if you're going to be super safe, 40 and up, and that's African American males. Yeah, African American males, you're going to want to get checked out 45 and up for prostate cancer, because you are more at risk, as well as those of you who have family history with prostate cancer. More specifically, if your father or your brother have been diagnosed with prostate cancer, you're really going to want to get checked out, because it is something that is hereditary and something that is more common if it's common within your family history. So you're going to want to, you know, this is an uncomfortable subject, but maybe this is something that you can bring it up with your dad or your brother, because, you know, it's like, it's hard enough already to talk to my brother and my dad about stuff. But yeah, if they have issues with prostate cancer, make sure that you guys talk to each other about that. I mean, it's as easy as saying, hey, have you checked yourself for prostate cancer? Have you had any issues with it? Because if you have, then we're all at risk. So anyway, that's just something to keep in mind. So really, in general, you can't be too careful about these things. If you don't get a physical every year, you really should at least go see the doctor every year and have blood work done, because the older we get, the more susceptible we are to prostate cancer and cancer in general, and all kinds of different maladies that are more common for older gentlemen. So now let's talk about something that's also just as uncomfortable to talk about as prostate cancer, and that is mental health. Now, when I talk about mental health, it's not just mental illness. When you talk about things like depression, anxiety, you know, those are the most common ones, I think. That's not what I want to talk about specifically, but most specifically, I want to talk about suicide. I'm going to put the number for a suicide hotline. If you yourself feel like, you know, you want to take your own life, please, please, please look into calling that hotline. I had friends who work for those hotlines who are really, really helpful. They're just there to listen or to talk to you and to be your friend at the moment, because sometimes that's all it takes is for you to just talk to somebody. So it's not something you mess around with. I myself have struggled with depression and had suicidal thoughts. It's just not something that you can take lightly. So what I want to talk about specifically are some of the statistics that you can find, and if you want to, you can go to gentlemansride.com and you can find all this information as well. I'll put a link down in the description for this as well. But let's talk about how suicide affects men. Now, I don't know if you know this, but globally the statistics are 3 out of 4 suicides are men. And that's a really, really scary statistic. I mean, suicide in general is just so hard to talk about and so hard to discuss, but to think about the fact that 3 out of 4 suicides are men is just scary. And it's scary to think, and it's the thing that I think perpetuates this is men's idea of machismo and just thinking and having that hard exterior and not willing to talk or discuss things that they're uncomfortable with. You know, it's a huge stereotype, but it's one of those things that's definitely true, and the numbers are there to back it up, that men aren't good at talking, they're not good at communicating, and that just lends itself to this terrible, terrible statistic. Over 500,000 men die from suicide globally every year. And that, again, that's just another one of those staggering statistics. You know, this isn't something that any of us want to talk about or even think about, but this is why rides like this and events like this are so important, because they bring awareness to it. Because I'm participating in this ride, it can be a segue when you're talking to your dad or your brother, your one of your good friends. It could be a segue to talk about these things that are really uncomfortable. I've never talked to any of my guy friends about the fact that I suffer from depression or that I have anxiety, and it's just not something that comes up naturally. So when you talk about a ride like the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, you can say something like, hey, I just went on this amazing group ride, and they'll want to know about it. And it's just an easy segue into talking about the issue at hand and the reason why this ride finds so much success and finds so much participation, because it's one of those things where I think that we want to talk about it and we want to discuss it, but there's just not a natural way to do it. And for guys, if there's not a natural progression into talking about something like this, it just doesn't happen. How do you go from talking about sports or motorcycles or cars or you know, guy things into prostate cancer or suicide? It just doesn't happen. So I think every opportunity that we can take to talk about these things, we really need to, because it's just something that isn't discussed enough. I fairly recently have decided to put it out there that I suffer from some of these mental health issues, and it wasn't an easy thing for me. I think I mentioned it before that I tried to talk about these things before. I've made videos, I had them edited and everything, and then I would delete them. And that's just one of those things that what happens when you have depression is your confidence is gone, and then especially when you combine it with anxiety, you know, thinking about the fact that I was going to put these videos out there exposing myself, and sorry, I just heard what I said there, but putting these videos out there where I'm leaving myself exposed things that when you suffer from these from depression and anxiety, you're leaving yourself open to ridicule and to to bullying. And these, I think, really, if I was going to pin it down, my anxiety and my depression came from being bullied as a kid. And so if you're one of those parents and maybe you know your kid's bullying, or you know your kid's getting bullied, you've got to really nip that in the bud right away. My daughter was being bullied at school when she was in middle school. She's in high school now and she has so much more confidence, but we nipped that in the bud right away because we needed her to know that it's not okay and that she needs to have confidence. And it was kind of an awesome parenting moment, something that if I'm gonna be proud of being a parent for any reason, it would be that I feel like my kids can talk to me, and I feel like my kids have confidence in themselves and confidence in our ability as mom and dad to help them with anything that might be going on with them. So yeah, again, you won't hear me brag about myself a lot on this channel, but I'm definitely proud of my kids, and I'm proud of the fact that my wife was able to stay home with them for so long while I went to work. Even though it made things tough every once in a while, we made it work, and I'm just so glad that we did it that way. I know not everyone can do that. I know it's not something that's possible for everybody, but if you're a new parent and it is possible for one of you to stay home, there's really no replacement for being at home with one of your parents while you're growing up through your being a toddler and up until preschool and even past that. So I'm gonna make a little U-turn here, head on back the other way. So got a little bit off topic here, but that ride is coming up on September 30th. It is the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, and we are here to bring awareness and help bring awareness to these things that are just things that are not easy to talk about with other guys. So I would encourage you, if you haven't already, leave it in the comments there if you support men's health, if you support men's mental health and bringing awareness to prostate cancer. If you're comfortable, leave it in the comments if you've had any kind of experience that you want to share that you think will help other guys, or maybe other women supporting guys. Share a story, because it's really important for us to share. The more we share, I think the easier it is to get these things out and talk about them. So go ahead and leave that in the comments. If you want to hop on over to my writer page, it's at Gentleman's Ride /writer/that1guy. You can go over there and sponsor me for the ride, and if not, you can just go over to gentlemansride.com and get registered yourself. You've got to register to ride. You can't just show up for the ride. You've got to get registered if you want to participate. So go and do that if you feel like it. If not, no big deal. But I do appreciate you watching this video. And if you're so inclined, hit the like button down there, which is that little thumbs up. And if you're so inclined, hit the subscribe button, which I'll pop up right over here. And I'll also throw up some links to some of my other videos over here in this direction, so you can go straight to one of those if you feel like it. Guys, if you're out there riding, be safe. And if you're not riding, get riding. This is That One Guy, and I am out.